Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the celebration of the life of Ed Chuman, or as I used to call him, Ed Chuman. And when I say I used to call him that, whenever I would call him on the telephone, he used to love for me to do my Jerry Lewis imitation of utilizing his voice. Ed Chuman. And he would just answer me back. He'd go, "Hey, babe." Once in a while, though, he would call me Bill Chuman, actually. So it was just the type of guy Eddie was and the type of guy that I am. We just enjoyed our company so much. Now, I figured today, as part of the eulogy, I would read from the good book. So let me get the good book. And the good book today is Webster's Dictionary. And I figured we should look up the word that we all use for this man. The word is character. Let's look up the word character. Pardon the microphone clunking. A, B, C comes after B. Oh, character. Guess what? It's another C. Right after character, the description of character is Chuman, comma, Ed. And what a character Ed Chuman was. And we all have our stories about Ed Chuman, funny stories, and every one of the stories that we all have about Ed Chuman, we could stand here for months and months and not be able to tell every one of them. One of my favorites is at the 50th anniversary of the National Wrestling Alliance, and as you know, Ed was one of the premier promoters for the NWA. And at the 50th anniversary party, Ed Chuman had arranged for me to take some pictures of a lovely young lady wearing one of Reggie Park's championship belts. And the lovely young lady went and put the belt around her waist and then turned around, and Ed gave her a signal, something like, and she turned back around, and the blouse was open, and Ed had a good laugh at my expense because my reaction to it was, "Oh my God!" So just one of the little Ed Chuman stories that I can tell. And again, you all have your own, and make sure you tell them to everybody because we want his memory to live. Now, I do have a book of Chuman here. I took a lot of notes about Ed Chuman. First of all, he started in the wrestling business. He was trained by Angelo Poffo, who, as you know or may not know, but I'll tell you now, was the father of Lanny Poffo and Randy Poffo, who eventually went on to become the Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, throughout his illustrious career in professional wrestling, Mr. Ed Chuman, he ran the gambit. He did everything. He was a manager, one of the managers that he was with Sidney Hack. And Mr. Hack is described as a chain-smoking alcoholic physician. Who else could play that part but Ed Chuman, correct? He wrestled bears. Ed Chuman wrestled bears, not beers. He did have a lot of beers, but he did wrestle bears. He, early in his life, he was an actor. He was a stagehand. He also did lighting. He did everything from A to Z. Ed Chuman was the consummate professional with everything he did, and he brought life to all of us. He made all of us feel wanted and needed, and we all had a very special place in his heart. And when we look around and see everyone who's here today, Ed's lovely wife, Pam, his fantastic daughter, Jen, and their family, and of course, Reggie Parks and Pat, and we'll talk about Reggie and Pat in a minute, and Dave Milligan and Rico Mann, team, all of Team Reggie. The memories are just so overwhelmingly warm and fantastic about this character, Ed Chuman. Now, when we talk about fame and fortune, Ed Chuman wasn't looking for fame. For fortune, yeah, a little bit. He could have used a little fortune, but he was more concerned with the quality of everything he did in his life, and that's shown in everything he did, including the work he did with Team Reggie, and it's also shown in the love and the quality of the family that he and Pam created with Jennifer there, their great daughter, as I mentioned before. More important than everything in the business was Pam and Jen. And on a trip that I was able to take because of Ed and Team Reggie to Hawaii, we became so close that I became Uncle Bill to Pam and Jen, and to Ed too. And when you talk about having the time of your life on a trip that you'll never, ever, ever forget, we had a week's worth of the best time that anyone could have. And I think back to that time, and it just brings a glow over me. And it was wonderful because Rico had told me when he and Pam were talking a few nights ago, Pam said that was the happiest time of Eddie's life, and I'm so glad that I could be included. Old buddy, Ed Chuman, I'm going to miss you so very much, but I want to right now for 2.5 minutes take all of you on this little trip back to Hawaii, which again Pam described as the best time of Eddie's life. And after you watch this and you leave here, and you stand up and you're going out and you leave here, just think of Ed in a warm, fuzzy way, that this man was just so terrific. And think of all the great stories you have about him, and leave today with a smile. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't tell you. See, a lot of times when he and I spoke on the phone, I was Stan Laurel and he was Oliver Hardy. I'd call him like this and I'd say, "Hello, Ollie," and he'd go, "Hello, Stanley." And we would talk for hours and hours and hours. But just remember what a good friend, what a great husband and daddy he was as well. And right now, let's look back on the best time of Ed Chuman's life, and mine too.